Hi YouTube. Censored Barbie, aka Sharon Michelle. I have come across some videos on YouTube today that were related to one that I made about feeding my dog a raw food diet. Now, if I can bring one important issue to the table today, it would be your vet. Let's start at the top, okay? Because you always have to start at the beginning, or you're not going to understand why the step before that was taken. So first, you have to understand industry. Everything in this world is powered by money. Even though it's stupid, it's just a piece of paper with ink on it. It doesn't do anything. It's not actually worth anything. We are still controlled by it, by the powers that be. So you have to understand first that everything is to make money. Our government has everything set up in place to make the money funnel to the right place from the right place. So their biggest industry here being healthcare, not just human. They are, it's all in a big pile. Healthcare, animals, people, it's all the same thing. So once you understand that it's all driven by money, that helps. So then you think, well, how does this have anything to do with my vet? Well, your vet is taught by a school. Schools are owned by the industry. Now, these industries have paid professionals that will go around to prestigious schools, and not only that, to professors, and do conferences and all kinds of crazy things to promote what they want to promote. Now, why are they promoting this? Because they're being paid to. Okay, these doctors know better. They know that they're lying to you. They only care about feeding their families, because that's what everyone has to do, and you need money to do that, right? So these scientists, doctors, vets, teachers, they're all paid by the same people to teach you how to keep yourself sick. So they suppress all the best information. What's good for you, what's safe, what's healthy, and what you should be doing. That's what they keep to themselves. What they push out there are the things that are going to make you dependent on their medications, meaning which will make you sick. They want you depressed. They want you stressed. They want you frustrated. They want you to be all of these things so that you more easily turn to them, mixed with all the fluoride that you take. It's a horrible combination, one that you almost can't even fight. The next step in understanding why your vet doesn't promote a raw food diet for your animal is that they're just doing what they're supposed to be doing. They are taught and paid to do what they're told, okay? So when the government sends someone to tell them, you don't want to promote this raw food diet, they have people lying to these vets. These vets go to this huge conference, and then they get taught in school that raw food is unhealthy, that it's unsafe, that it's experimental, right? Nothing's proven, which is not true. If you look in nature has proven itself over millions of years to keep animals and humans alive, because before there was processed food and bag food for your dog, they just ate a species appropriate diet. We'll get into that in a second. The next thing you need to understand is that your vets aren't doing this on purpose. They have been taught this, okay? Your individual vet is not to blame. Even if they tell you that a raw food diet, a species appropriate diet, is unsafe or unhealthy, it is not their fault. They don't know any better, even though it is their job to educate themselves as someone in a position of power to give decisions and advice for an animal or a human's health. They should do everything in their power to research everything that they are passing on to you before they do it. That's always been my biggest issue with government. They don't care about telling you why to do something. They just want you to do it. You should always ask why. You should always dig into why, how, always. Those are very important questions to ask, especially when you or your pet's health is involved. So let's get back to what we're talking about, your vet. Raw foods are the best idea for your animal. They have no preservatives, they have no harmful chemicals, they're not dehydrated, they're not freeze dried, they're natural, raw. They come out of the ground and they come from the earth, and they're not going to hurt your animal. Now you have to understand one thing. Bones are not bad for your animals. Cooked bones are bad for your animals. When you cook bones, you dehydrate them, you make them sharp and brittle, and they can easily break inside your dog's mouth, throat, stomach, intestines, any or all, and cause severe injuries and problems. Raw bones, however, are perfect for animals to gnaw, eat, and digest. They're good for not only their teeth and their gums, but for the rest of their bodies. There are certain proteins and chemicals, naturally, that are in bones that your animals actually need. So, another reason that your vet might say that a raw food diet is unsafe is because they are uneducated. When you think of a doctor, you think of someone who has been to school. That's the problem. The school is the problem. If people were just taking their encyclopedias from the 1990s and educating themselves on everything, and looking up anatomy books, and looking up books on nature, and books on digestion and immune system, and all these other important issues that have to do with your health, they would understand that what they're being taught is completely incorrect. You need to go back to the basics. You need to read something that was written on paper, that was printed a long time ago. Those encyclopedias, those are everything. Those are the one way that you can get away with educating yourself. Now, you can't trust the internet. Even Wikipedia has been bought and sold. The meanings to words, definitions change daily depending on whoever's in control of its idea of what it should be, or whatever agenda they're working on. But I'm telling you right now, educate yourself from something not from today. The more technological it is, the more it's been messed with. So you want to get your information from the library. It's okay to do that. I know it's unheard of these days to go into a library, check out a book, and learn something. But it is really the best and most basic way to get your information truthfully. I want to let everyone out there know that there's nothing wrong with a raw food diet. My dog, who is Rat Terrier Blue Heeler mix, over there sleeping happily. I'll show him to you. That's him right there. Little Jabbo. He just ate. I just uploaded a video of his lunch. It was raw beef, gorgeous chunks of raw beef. I gave him plum, mango, and an egg. He chows that down. I've never fed a dog raw food before. I've had many dogs in my life, and I've had many dogs with many problems. Especially my last was a Mastiff, an Ultimate Mastiff. If you don't know, that's a de Bordeaux Neapolitan mix. He was beautiful. He was loyal, well educated, listened to me at the drop of a dime, stood by my side, protected me, took care of me, helped me walk, was my service dog. And I felt horrible for feeding him what I had to feed him. It was the best thing that I could afford. I believe it was the Purina One True Instinct. It had real meat as the number one ingredient and no preservatives. I did the best that I could with what money I had. I couldn't possibly afford to feed him a raw food diet, as a dog of his size at 170 pounds would probably need about 10 ounces of meat for a meal, and that's just, I couldn't afford that. Nor was I really educated to the raw food diet. I knew that bagged food was not good, but I had no idea. The thought never crossed my mind, honestly, to feed my dog raw meat. And it really blows me away, because if you watch a nature documentary or you watch anything on animals, you never see them being fed bagged food, yet they're always healthy. They're always happy. They run miles a day. They have ridiculous amounts of stamina. They're smart. They're cunning. They're optimal. They're optimal. They're at their best. You know why? Because we have nothing to do with feeding them. Because when people get in the way, industry gets in the way. You have to understand. Industry is here to sell. Sell, sell, sell. They do not care what repercussions you have to deal with because they're selling you what they're selling you. Their job is only to make money. So, when you think about that, you can start to think about information that you get and where you get it from. So, the first thing you need to do is look up the truth about a raw food diet. Just Google it. Truth about raw food diets. And it's not just for people, it's animals and people alike do not need processed, do not need bagged food, do not need dehydration, do not need freezers. All of that is uncalled for. All of it. All the toxic chemicals, all the fluoride, the water that's used, all of that will kill you. It will harm your pet. Your pet will have ridiculous allergic reactions. They'll have illnesses. They'll have eye problems. They'll have skin problems. They'll have organ problems. They have allergies that you would not believe. You know why? Because they're not being fed the right food. They're being fed chemicals that are altering their bodies. That's what you're pumping them with. I know you don't know that. But I implore that you look at the back of your dog food. Look at the ingredients. Type every single one of them into Google. Understand what you're feeding your pet. They are poisoning your animals. There is nothing wrong with a raw food diet. I promise you. But don't take my word for it. Look it up. Look it up for real, people. Look up what wolves eat. Look up what mountain lions eat. Look up what bobcats eat. They eat wild animals. They eat berries, fruits, vegetables. Everything that falls off of a tree, grows on roots or in the ground. They'll eat. They come across and they eat. Oranges, apples, grapes, pears, strawberries, potatoes, zucchini, squash, greens, any kind of seasonings, the onions, garlic. They love all of that. My dog eats tomatoes and spinach like it's raw meat. I mean, he will devour a plate full of tomatoes, onions, garlic, spinach, and fresh oregano and mint like it is the gravy train. You know what I'm saying? Licks his bowl clean for 5 minutes. Cries while I'm making it. Can't wait to eat his food. Is super happy, super healthy, very energetic. Another thing raw foods do for your dog. If you're tired of picking up gigantic piles of crap, you want to feed your dog raw food. It is much easier for them to digest. It's perfectly made by nature for them to digest easily. So when you feed them species appropriate food, like meats and vegetables, fruits, berries, whatever, the food goes right through them, right like it should. Nothing gets pulled off into some part like these harmful chemicals and metals that you find in your food, in the dog food that's bagged. There's none of that in their raw food, in meat and vegetables. I suggest that you buy organic so that you're not feeding your dog GMOs as well, because those are also very harmful, untested, and the only proof we have so far is that they're very harmful. So I'm begging you, look this up. It's very important for your dog's health. It's very important for your sanity. Don't go crazy wondering why you spend so much money in vet bills. Don't wonder why you have to pick up humongous piles of crap that stinks horribly from all those toxic chemicals. Let me tell you what, my dog poops the tiniest amount. It's the perfect consistency. It doesn't stick to anything. I pick it right up and it doesn't leave a mark on anything. I can't even smell it. I can't even tell when my dog's taking a shit, you know? It's awesome. It's amazing, and he couldn't be healthier. He couldn't be happier. He doesn't have any issues, not one. His skin is perfect. His eyes are perfect. He lost all his teeth and got them all back perfectly. He's super energetic. He's very smart. He's already learned hand signals as well as verbal commands, and he loves his food. I have no complaints. My dog Linus, my Mastiff, used to try to bury his food. He used to push it out of the bowl with his nose. And this is even with ground cooked turkey. My bad, I cooked the turkey, I'm sorry. Cooked turkey and carrots, which are his favorite, would still nose the food around if there was dry food in it, which really made me wonder. I'm sitting going, why is my dog doing that? Well, that's because he didn't want it. Why does he not want it? It's not for him, you know? It's made for industry. It's made for money. It's not made for your dog. Your dog will not prosper. Your dog will be sick. Your dog will wonder why you're torturing them and abusing them, and they won't be able to explain that to you. All they can do is be sick and be sad and be depressed and be unhealthy and be mentally not all there. If you want a healthy, happy dog, try to transfer to a raw diet. Dogs need, if I read correctly, about an ounce per pound a day. So I feed my dog at 5 pounds about 5 to 7 ounces of raw meat a day, in addition to the fruits, vegetables, and occasional egg that he gets. And he couldn't, I'm telling you, he couldn't be happier, and I wouldn't lie to you. If my dog was miserable, I would be putting up a video about why my dog is miserable and how we can change it. But my dog is not miserable. He's the happiest dog in Las Vegas. He's very healthy. He's got his face buried in his blanket right now. And he's sleeping happily with a full belly of very nutritious food. So please do your due diligence to your dog, to your cat, to your bird, to your ferret, to your fish, whatever it is that you have. You need to feed them a species-appropriate diet. Look it up. And if you don't know what a species-appropriate diet is, watch a documentary on any wild animal. What they eat, that's species-appropriate. Wild cats eat fish, mice, birds, fruits and vegetables. They'll eat anything, even grass. They all need greens as well. Don't think for a second you're going to hurt your dog by feeding them raw food. You're going to hurt your dog by continuing to poison them with processed, overly mass-produced food that is meant to be kept on a shelf 50 years after your dog is dead. That food will still be fresh like the day it was made. That is horrible. There are so many toxic preservatives in that food that it will literally never go bad. You don't want that. That's the last thing you want putting in your dog's stomach. Trust me. It doesn't just go to their stomach and they poop it out. Everything you put into your body or your animal's body gets sucked up into every cell and every atom, and it's either going to help or hurt. So, use your brain, use some logic, do a little digging. I know you have a lot of things to do. The government keeps you busy, frustrated, stressed. We've been through this. Don't let them do it to you. Okay? Take a few minutes out of your day before you go to bed, while you're laying in bed, can't go to sleep, whatever your problem is. Look it up. Just look it up. Look up some videos of other people feeding their food, their dogs raw food. There are so many. I looked them up today. There are a lot. And a lot of people say ask your vet. Don't ask your vet. Don't ask your vet. For everything that is good, don't ask your vet. Your vets are taught by the government, by industry, to keep your animals sick. They just want to keep them sick, and they don't know any better. So, do it yourself. You have to do it yourself. You can't rely on other people to give you the correct information. Everyone's not like me. Everyone's not like the people I just saw in the videos before me. I'm not driven by money. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not going to profit. My friends aren't going to profit. I don't own shares in a company that will do well. I don't know any government officials who have told me to tell you this. I'm telling you this from personal experience, from practice, that there is nothing wrong with a raw food diet for your animal. It is nutritionally optimal for their health. Now, please do as I've asked and just do a little research. What do you have to lose? Be nice to your pets. They love you.